This is a tutorial on how to take one image and separate it into several different layers in order to manipulate it. Also, how to add in objects from other pictures or take objects away from the original. First things first, you need to open up your Gimp, which mine's already open, and select the picture that you want to start with. That's what we've done here. If you don't have a picture, you can go to pixabay.com, I believe. I have the link in the description, but that's a great place to get HD pictures for free. That's where I got this. Open up your picture, and this is what we started with. I'm going to show you what we end up with. This is what we will end with. As you can see, we've added in some clouds, the picture of the earth, and the moon over in this area. Okay, so you've opened up Gimp, you've gone to File and Open, and you've selected the picture you want to start with. I'm going to bring my toolbox back up. By the time you've watched this, you have already watched the video on the several different ways to cut out a object. I personally like the scissors tool, so that's what we're going to use here. For the sake of time, I'm not going to zoom in and do this very detailed, but a good idea is to take your zoom tool first and zoom into your picture, because the more you zoom, the more detailed you can get with your lines. But as I said, for the sake of time, we are not going to do that. Okay, we're zoomed out to the original size of the picture. We go to our scissors tool and we click and begin to make anchors, and just click along the lines. Okay, make sure that you don't forget to go to the corners when you're cutting out the bottom or top of a picture. Make sure that you press Control when you're doing your last anchor that will go on top of your first. Control and then click. Press Enter. As you can see, it is selected. Once selected, go to Edit, Copy, Edit again, Paste as, New Image. I'm going to minimize our original picture to show you. This is the field that we just cut out. Go to File, Save As, name your picture, whatever you want to name it. Make sure that you save it as a PNG file or something else, but it cannot be a JPEG, because JPEGs don't let you have transparency. So you need to make it a PNG or whatever else that you know works. And then you go to down here to your save button, or you can click enter. I've already got this picture saved, so I'm not going to save it again, but that's how you would save it. Like I said, I've got this saved, so I'm not going to save that. Okay, now undo scissors. Now you're back to your original picture and you're ready to cut out your next item. Go to your scissors tool, and I've already cut out the field, but now I'm going to cut out the sky. And just continue along until you've got your sky completely cut. Okay, we're about to do our last anchor. Press Control and go down to your first anchor. Okay, as you can see, we've got our sky cut out. This does not have to be exact, and you'll see why later. Press Enter. Okay, now you can see that it is selected and it is cut it out. Go to Edit, Copy. We're doing the same thing that we just did with the other. Edit, Paste as, New Image, Okay, I'm going to minimize the original so you can see this is the sky that we just cut out. As you did before, you go to File, Save As, name your picture, make sure it's a PNG file for the transparency, and click down here at Save. I've already done this, so I'm going to get out of this, and I'm going to get out of that. I'm not saving, but again, you will need to. Okay, this is our original picture again. We're going to go to Edit, Undo Scissors, so that we can select our next item. This part is more complicated. Because of the detail. So now you will definitely need to use your zoom tool and zoom in as much as you can within reason. Go to your cut tool and you're just going to start making anchors, clicking and sliding up. And you're going to continue to do this all the way around your object. Now don't worry about all those places in the middle where the sky shows through. I'm going to take care of that later. For right now, you just need to worry about the outside of your image and cutting it out as close as you can. And you want to try to leave out as much as possible for the sky. You don't want that. So if you need to click in just a little bit just to make sure, then do so. And as you can see, we'll just continue clicking all the way around. I'm going to fast forward through this part. Okay, we're back. Now as you can see, we have got the image that we are cutting out fully anchored. Now we press enter. As you can see, we pressed enter and it selected what we cut out. I was not very careful with this because I'm not saving this image. I've already got it saved. But you would do the same thing that you did before. Edit, copy, edit, paste as, new image, name your image, save it as a PNG file for the transparency. Okay, real quick, I told you how I was going to show you how to get rid of that blue sky in the middle of the trees. The way you do that is go to your zoom tool, click in the picture that you're wanting to edit the sky out of. In this case, it was the tree left side. And go to your your eraser tool. Go to your eraser section here where it tells you what brush size and everything. When you're first starting to get rid of the big areas, then just pick a size. Okay, and I would go a little bit smaller. I'm just going to use my scale tool here. Make sure I have it erased. You would just find the correct brush size to take as much out as possible in one swoop. Of course, we've already done that here, but let's just so you see, that's what it would do. I'm going to undo that. Okay, so you would just do that in the areas where you can take a big chunk out at one time. Then you would go to a smaller brush to really get into those areas that you need a definite line of transparency done. Once you've done that with all of these areas like this and this and this and this, these are areas that need definite lines, then you go to your brushes, and I like to use the Galaxy AP brush. This is what you use when you don't want defined circles in the middle of your tree, for example. So this is what this would do. Since I've already done it, I'll show you. Okay, as you can see, it didn't do a whole lot. It just did a little bit. I'm going to undo that real quick. That's what you would do in these areas where you don't want a defined circle, but you need the sky, the blue part, out of there, and it leaves a little room for transparency. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. And that's what you would use in all these areas that you don't want defined lines in, like this, and over here, and here, and here. Anyway, you just keep doing that in all those areas where you just need a little bit of transparency, but not a defined circle. And when you're completely done with the entire picture edit, you just go to File and Save, and it saves. And that's what I did with the pictures that I am using now of the trees, which we're going to show you now. Save as, everything that we've already done with all the other ones. Okay, so you would save your image as a PNG, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to get out of all of that. Go back to my original image, undo scissors. I'm going to slide over here and do our next image, which is the other tree. Go to your cut tool, and as with all the other ones, anchor, and continue to anchor all the way around until you've got it completed. Okay, we've got our image completely anchored. Press enter. It has selected what we cut out. Again, we do the same thing that we've been doing. Edit, copy, edit, paste as, new image, name your image, PNG, save as, name your image, PNG, save, and then once you've got that image saved, even for you, you will just save it and then X out of it. We will be opening up those pictures in a minute after we're done with all of this. But for now, you don't want it to be clouding up your screen. So we undo scissors. We're back to our original image. I'm going to zoom back out. Okay, now we have our original image. We've already cut out our sky, our field, and both trees. You want to go to your background, click it, and you want to make a new layer. You want to make sure that it's a transparent layer. Click OK. Just to make sure it's the right size. Make your background invisible. And it is. At this point, we no longer need this full background picture. So click it and delete it. Now you're left with your new layer, which is completely transparent, and that's all. Go ahead and rename that your background transparent, or you can name it canvas, whatever. Click OK, and now we're going to open up every one of the separate image files that we created from that one image. We do this all at one time by going to Open as Layers, and clicking on each one of the separate image files that we want to include in this project, whether it came from this picture that we just cut everything out of, or whether it came from another picture that we want to add in, which would be like the picture of the Earth and the Moon. That wasn't part of what we cut out. I'd already had that cut out from a different picture, but we want to include it. So click each one by pressing Control and holding it down. Okay, we pressed Control and we clicked each one of the pictures that we wanted to open up in this project, and we press Open, which you can't see mine, but it's down here, and it's going to open up each one of those files as a separate layer. Okay, as you can see, it has opened up each one of those individual image files as a separate layer, and it went ahead and carried over whatever you named that image file as the name of the layer, which is very convenient. Otherwise, you would have to name each one individually. Now, obviously, this isn't what we want to start out with or what we want to end up with. So at this point, you need to go to your visibility icon and just unclick each layer so that there are no visible layers. Okay, once you've done that, then you want to leave only the background transparent layer visible. And now you're ready to begin. The first one that we're going to begin with is going to be our field of yellow flowers. I'm going to go ahead and move this to be right above my background, and I'm going to make it visible. And I'm going to go to my move tool. Going to make sure that I click the right layer so that I'm moving the right one, and I'm going to adjust this to be right where I want it. When you're completely done with your editing and you have your final image flattened, you want to go ahead and crop it to make sure that the edges of your final image are not transparent. Now we want the earth. As you can see, the earth is showing up over the field. Well, we don't want that. So we're going to go click our earth layer and drag it below the field. And as you can see, it sets it behind it. Now, personally, I want this to be bigger. So I'm going to go to my scale tool. And the biggest thing with layers is that you need to make sure that you're clicked on the right one. I only want my earth one to be scaled. So I click in it, and I move this box out of the way so I can see, and I just scale it however I personally want it. Okay, play around with it however you want it. Bring your box over here back up and hit scale. You can always undo it if it's not the way you like it. Okay, so we scaled our image to the size that we wanted, and it's where we want it, basically. Now you need to go to your next. I'm going to choose sky. Obviously I don't want it there, so I need to move it. Okay, that's where I want it, but as you can see, we have areas here that we need to move. So go to our, actually I'm going to go to the scale tool and not the move tool, because I want that layer to be longer, and if I just move it, it's not going to be enough. Make sure I click the right layer, make sure I have the scale tool, click, and I'm actually going to make the earth invisible. Okay, and scale it however you want it. I just need mine to be moved down. I want those areas to be completely gone where the trees were, so I'm just going to move those out of the way. And because this is not the type of sky that you have to get exact, we can do this without a problem. I'm going to hit my scale tool. Okay, my sky finished scaling to where I set it. Obviously we want the earth to show back up, so we click the visibility. Okay, so now we've got those layers where we want them. I'm going to go back up. I'm going to do moon next. So I'm going to make the moon visible. I'm going to go to move, make sure I click moon, and move. And I'm going to move it over here. And I'm going to adjust it. scale. Okay, now I've got it about the size I want. I need to move it. Click my move tool, and I'm going to move it. Okay. Now, okay, I changed some things around a little bit. Just scaled some things, but that's not important if you're wondering why it looks a little different. Okay, now I'm going to add the trees. I'm going to go to visibility, move, make sure that my tree layer is highlighted, and I'm going to move this about where I want it. I'm going to go to the next tree, make it visible, go to my move tool, make sure I click the right one, and I'm going to move this tree to where I want it. Okay, now we're going to, this is where I got a little creative in the sense of that I made it my own. You can do whatever you want. I wanted more trees than what we had here. So I clicked the tree, layer, did a duplicate, and as you can see, there's the name of the copy. Now I'm going to change the name so that I know which one it is. I'm going to make it smaller. Okay, now make sure that's highlighted. Go to my scale tool. Again, a lot of this is trial and error. Okay, now I want to do another tree. We're going to use the other one, duplicate, rename it, I'm going to move it first this time. Going to scale it. For the sake of time, I'm not going to get real picky with this at the moment, but in my finished product, I was very picky. So this isn't going to look exactly like the finished product that I showed you, but it's close enough. Okay, now we want to add some clouds. This is just up to your personal preference. Make sure that it's in the right place. Again, just move it around. If I, for example, wanted this, whoops, see, that's what happens when you don't click the layer right. Okay, undo move layer. It's going to go back where it was. Okay, now let's try this again. White fluffy cloud, move. If I wanted this cloud to be, whoops, behind the moon but in front of the earth, then I would just need to move the layer around until I got it where I wanted it, which is before the moon, but after the field and the earth. Now it turns out that I don't really want that there, so I'm going to move it back where it was, or just somewhere else. And I'm going to move it back over here. Again, we're not going to be picky for the sake of time. Okay, now we want to make this cloud visible, and we're going to move it for right now. I need this cloud to be over here, or just out of the way, because of the next area. Now this is a cloud cutout, because I wanted the moon to be a specific way, and I'm not sure if this is going to work with this exact picture, because again, the one I finished is not exactly at this scale. Okay, I got that to work. Okay, basically we have got everything that we wanted. As you can see, all of our layers are visible, and they are basically where we wanted them. Now we need to adjust a few things, like how opaque it is. The moon, we definitely want to be a little less visible, so we're going to scale that down. Okay. That's how you do it, basically, and we're not getting picky. Again, there's a lot you can do with this, and one of the things that I'll show you in the next tutorial is how to adjust each and everything the way you want it to look before you flatten the image. But basically, that's how you take one picture and turn it into several different layers. Where all these clouds came from, by the way, was that original picture. And I just zoomed in like I did with the trees and cut the clouds out and saved them individually, just like I did with the trees, and then added them back into this project in order to be able to move them around where I wanted them. So basically, that's how you do this. Now at this point, if we were completely done, which we're not, and I'll show you in the next tutorial if you want to watch it, how to actually adjust the lighting and everything else, you would click on the background that you have, and you would go to flatten image, and it would take all those layers and add them into one picture. And at this point, you could save it. And name it whatever you wanted. You'd be done. Of course, I don't want to do that right now. And watch the next tutorial for me to show you how to adjust each layer as far as color and lighting. We're going to unflatten the image in order to get it ready for the next tutorial. So I hope that helped you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them. And if you know of a different way to do this, then please make your own tutorial and just add it in the video comment section, and I'll check it out and add it so that anyone who's looking to do this can look at this video as well as yours if you have a different way. I hope that this wasn't too confusing. Again, this is a time-consuming project in order to cram into such a little amount of time. But good luck!